everyone, my name is Pengcheng Wu, and my other partners are Parth, Tarun, and Harnish. Our project is named Housing Rental Analysis of Single-Family Homes in United States of America. Our research years are between 2011 and 2017. In our project, we use Minitab to solve some problems. Housing rentals is one of the basic criteria for selection of cities to live in for family. Selecting the location perfectly considering various facilities and amenities of the community plays a vital role in living a quality life. The main aim of this analysis was to understand the variation of the housing rentals in major cities in the United States. This is our P diagram. From the picture, we can see that we make housing prices as our input and the factors of affecting prices as our output. Control factors include GDP of the cities and the facilities or amenities. There are also some uncontrollable factors like densities of the apartment or investment priorities. This is our time series plot for cities. It shows the tendency of the average rents of these 4 cities. The orange lines represent the Houston's average rent. The blue one is for Chicago. The yellow one is for Boston, and the gray one is for San Francisco. From the picture, we can see that all of the cities all have an increasing tendency in the past few years. But the Houston and Chicago's average rentals have a very stable tendency. Boston's average rental is higher than Chicago and Houston. And the most amazing city is San Francisco. It has the highest average rental from these 4 cities. Okay, next let our teammates Harnish to go ahead.
Okay, hi guys, thank you Pengcheng. So now I'm going to tell you about the graph plot, about the histogram that we plotted for different cities to see the variation in the rental price of a house. So first, this is the diagram of Boston. We plotted the histogram. We took the frequencies of the rent that was the outcome of every month, and then we plotted the histogram. And the next diagram shows the rent increase in every year, that is increment of rent in every year in Boston. So there we can see that there is a linear progression in the rent of every year, of every month, we can see that. And in histogram we tried to plot it with the normal distribution. We tried to fit that distribution with the normal distribution. You can see that there are some high ranges in between. That is due to some expensive, costly area in Boston. So this is the same thing that we did. We plotted histogram for the Chicago, the rent for the Chicago. Here also we tried to fit the histogram with a normal distribution. There are some high ranges in between because of some frequencies because of some outcome of the rent in some years or in some months. And here we can see that there is generally there is a linear increment in the rent of the houses, but the rents are not properly in a linear line. There are some curves in between, so the rent gets increased, after some time gets decreased, and then goes increase and decrease. So similarly we did that for Houston. In Houston, the graph, the histogram was perfectly going to match with the normal distribution, but the 2 readings that you can see, that is of 1200 and 1425, goes up high because of the high frequency of attaining the rent at some months. And you can see the increase in the rental is also linear. There is some different changes or there is some variation in the rents, but that is good. It's somewhat linear. So the last is San Francisco. As you can see, explained by Pengcheng, that San Francisco is the most costliest city of the 4 we took in it. So we plotted the histogram and we tried to fit it with the normal distribution, and you can also see the increase in the rent is linearly. There is some change in year 2016 to 2017, the first month, that is Jan. We can see that there is somewhat reflection in the linear curve. So thank you. Now Parth will continue to explain you about the ANOVA.
So you looked at the histogram and the scattered plot diagrams for various cities. Now we decided to conduct one-way analysis of variance for all the individual cities. ANOVA basically means it's a technique which is used to compare the means of two or more samples for the cities that we have. So here you can see that there are two kinds of hypothesis that we generally use in this particular test. One is the null hypothesis and the other is alternative hypothesis. In null hypothesis, it is considered that all the means are equal. That is basically the rents that we have for all the years are equal. In alternative hypothesis, we assume that none of the rents and its means are equal. So in our case, we have kept a significance level of 0.05, that is the alpha. So what does that indicate? It is basically if the p-value is less than alpha, in that case we reject the null hypothesis, which is our case because none of the means are equal. So basically we are going ahead with the alternative hypothesis. By running the one-way analysis, we can get all this data. Here you can see that we have the pooled standard deviation for all the years for Boston. The pooled standard deviation basically means it's the average of all the standard deviation for all the years. Similarly, we get that for the other cities as well. Here you can look for Chicago that the pooled standard deviation is 19. In the case of Houston, the pooled standard deviation is 17.4205, and in the case of San Francisco, the pooled standard deviation is 110. It's greater in the case of San Francisco because the average rent in San Francisco is much higher compared to the other three cities, and hence it has a greater pooled standard deviation. Now Tarun will continue from here.
So hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk about the results and conclusion of the complete project which we have done, or say the analysis which we have done. So the major four cities which we have taken in our presentation are Boston, Chicago, Houston, and San Francisco. And as per the results of the one-way ANOVA test for the rental cost, there was a very small p-value which showed up and which was approximately equal to 0. And since it's way too less than 0.05, the actual alpha value, we reject the hypothesis and accept the alternate hypothesis. And that states that at least one mean is different. So coming to the control factors which played a key role in this whole process are the demand for the housing prices decreases, resulting in decreasing rental costs. This happened during the years of 2011 and mid-2013 as the market in the United States was weak and was overcoming the economic recession of 2009. So there was a slight growth there. So in the graph, when it is compared to the years 2014 and 17, 2011 and 13, showed a lesser rental costs. And coming to the rental price increased, it was mostly during the years 2014 and 16, as everyone knows that the market was pretty stabilized at that period of time, and various technological changes which are related to housing have been introduced into housing, and there were new housing facilities, electric facilities. We had automatic electronic devices which were introduced, housing devices which were introduced by Google and Amazon and everything. So all these things played a key role in the housing amenities, which in turn increased the prices of the houses in the major cities. And coming to the scope of work, this study of variance in rental prices of homes in the major cities over the span of 7 years can be very useful for the people who are planning to start their career in a specific city and who actually want to get into a town which is feasible for their income, for their family, and for their background. So the graphs and statistics show the variation in the trend with respect to the mean price over the period. The control and uncontrollable factors play a key role in deciding the variation, which I have explained previously. So the rental organizations that control the release terms and costs must be very specific while they are taking the houses and posting them through their websites and everything from the owners, so they can consider what kind of houses they have to take, what kind of marketing they have to do so that they can sell these houses, and what kind of areas they have to concentrate in cities so that they could sell or they could lease these apartments to a huge crowd. And coming to the amenities and facilities that are provided along with these houses, they play a key role in deciding the price hike. As if a person finds a rental apartment which has good amenities for a slightly higher price than a one which he used to live for a lower price, he would be preferring the new one, because you're paying a small amount of money and getting other amenities along with that. And so this analysis of variation in houses cost gives us a clear idea of understanding the trend in major cities of the United States. Thank you.